wherever you are in the world. I am live. Let me have a look. So what does people think? The fact that I stayed off Twitter, and I'm staying off Twitter till Monday, and then I'll get back on there Monday night. We're not coming up to Dr. Glidden again, aren't we? I've got to be honest with you, time flies so quick. Like a month seems like a couple of days. So there's definitely something going on with our times, I think. Luke 1956, lovely to see you out there. Jules Ann 67. Sean Ty, Sue Ellen, Ace Jace, Sue Ellen's out there. Let's see how many more you got out there. Don't forget, hit the like button, really helps us, and also hit not only the like button but subscribe if you're on YouTube. Come over to Rumble. It's the only free speech platform. That isn't to say that we don't moderate our channel. And as you can all see from tonight's meme, I've got to show you this because I thought it was the nuts, right? Someone sent me this today, and I thought I'd better show it to you. So I'll put it up as the main element to it. Let's have a look and see if I can see it. There it is. Put it up on the screen. There you go. Right. This is the Home Office Asylum Consequences of Behaviour, a guide for asylum seekers. Fuck off. I see it coming. I just started laughing. It was like, I wish if we had a Restore Britain with a Restore England focus, right? You would definitely be seeing some of that. So, what do you all think of that? By the way, can we have a vote in the chat with an English flag with the sentiments? Do you agree with our own personal written Home Office guidance? So you can put an English flag up there, and we'll know that you're with us, not against us. Let's see if we can see any English flags. Well done. It's just we're being very direct tonight, so I thought I'd let you know. I'm seeing all the English flags come in. There's a bit of a delay at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on with the bit of kit, but my phones are going a bit funny as well. So something a bit strange is going on. Right. There are there's some brief things that I want to talk about. And it's sort of important for everyone to understand. So the first thing I want to say again is for the donations that have come in. Do you want to quickly go and get me one of each of them things that are up there? You know, the Femben and the Menben, and then where's the other ones? We've got them. I might as well show people what they are. Let's see if I can push this out there. Oh, everything is going pear-shaped. There you go. I'll pull that back in a sec, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Again, I won't put it straight up, but I will show you. And there is another little website being set up for it as well. They are Membens the doll. What are they? Fembens. Fembens the doll. So let me put this over there just to show you what I'm talking about, because people don't realise they're different things and they all do something slightly different, right? And then you've got something else which I use as well, which is the DMSO 90%. Let me just show you what these are, so everyone's got this on the screen. Let's see if I can switch my camera. Right, so these, right, are literally membenzidole tablets, right? So these are the ones that it's one of the ways in which. So when you take all three, which I'm going to show you, these are non-toxic. In fact, the drugs that they actually give you for things like cancer are a lot worse. But these kill in a different way. These ones are membenzidole, 1,000 milligram, right? And again, it's on there so everyone can see it. These ones are dated, expiry 2028. I don't take a lot of notice of the expiries. Then you got fembenzidole, right? So don't forget they all do a slightly different thing. 1,000 milligram tablets, and again they absolutely knock out cancer. That one is again expiry January 2028. So they've got long dates on them. And this one is ivermectin at 20 milligram. Now you could get the 20 milligram or the 12 milligram. It don't make a lot of difference. But if I've got the 20 milligram here, then I will put them out to you. And there they are. And then ones are April 2028. Okay, so that's what they are. So there's the three lots are here. There's some other elements that I'll be looking into, and then they'll be going on a separate website, so people can just click and buy it and do it, right? But if you want any of that, bearing in mind what the main idea is, if anyone's got cancer, there are different pathways. I will say this to people while you're actually out there listening to this. I've known a number of people to take that medication and it has worked and their cancer's gone into remission, right? Their tumours have gone down or in some cases disappeared. It's not to say that all cancers are parasites, right? Whilst they don't know the exact reasons why it works, what they're saying is it does work. There is evidence of it working. In fact, in America now, they are using these as treatments. In fact, there are elements somewhere else in the UK that started to use them as treatments, but they didn't tell anyone. The point being, whilst they don't know why it stops cancer and reverses cancer, they know it's something to do with the signalling of the cancer growth, and it causes apoptosis, which basically means that the cancer cells die, but good cells don't die. So just the cancer cells. It is something to do with the signalling process in the body, and it doesn't harm the human body. In other words, they are non-toxic, and obviously you need to stay within certain limits. But again, that's there. So if anyone wants that, they can email me at Graham, GRAHAM .more, MOORE, at protonmail.com, right? This is nothing to do with the English Constitution Society or the English Constitution Party or anything else. This is me looking at the evidence and saying that I believe that the people have the right to try, and I cannot see any reason why people shouldn't be given the right to try this. Right, like I say, it is largely. I mean, you'd have to take massive, like eating all of them in a day before you'd even feel sick or anything seriously going wrong with you. I'm not suggesting you do that, by the way. All I'm saying is it does. That it does work. I know people it has personally worked for, right? So, and then if you put ivermectin in the subject header of the email, your full name and address in the subject, how many strips you want. So a strip of ivermectin. So one of these is 15 quid, right? So hopefully on these I really want to do just you can have a minimum order of 6, but really it's better to do 10 strips at a time. They got a long date on them, so they're £15 a strip, and these are slightly less, right? Which is £10 a strip. That's fenbenzidole, and this one is membenzidole, which again is £10 a strip. But then you've got all three, and there's some other stuff you can do as well, right? And you basically, there is specific protocols for these that I will put out, and people have the right to try it to see if it works. And on most of the things that I've seen, it is all positive news, right? So that's, but again, this is really to people who watch the show, right? I'm not particularly interested in punting out to people or persuading them, or people who will only do exactly what a doctor tells you. This is literally off-label use, and it works. That's it. I can't really say any more than that. Now, I'm going to come off of that and show you something else before I get into the main subject area tonight. Let me see if I can find this for you. Now, I see something quite amazing today. You'll see how I've stayed off Twitter. I've completely stayed off Twitter. Not responded to anything, just 7 days minimum just to stay off of it, right? And yes, we are still here and we are still doing things. So let me just try and show you this. There's the one up there. Mr. Hobbs, he's deleted the thread now, but my word, this explains an awful lot, right? So this is Jonathan Brash MP. I don't even know who he is or where he is as an MP, but this is what he says. Public sector workers use their income to pay for the private sector. The state the state is one of the biggest procurers of private sector. It wouldn't exist without taxpayers. This is the most insane reverse thing that I've ever seen, right? And then he goes on to say, people creating the divide between public and private genuinely don't understand how an economy works. And that is the level of MPs running this country. What I just showed you on the screen. That is absolutely disgusting. So there's a few things. Apart from that, I looked at it and I was like, shit. We are, if that is the level of the understanding of the economy of these people, and again, MPs in effect created their own profession in 1911 with the Parliament Act, right? That's how we created a political profession. We was warned against it by our ancestors. They said, "Don't do this. You're going to create a political class," and that is exactly what we've done, right? So that's the first thing I want to make sure everyone is understanding, that you need to reverse that situation. You need people who do understand the economy on what's going on, and it's certainly not that people like that. They need to be out. Prior to 1911, it was generally, one, it was all men, and second, it was men that had run their own businesses and understood how an economy really works and how to create wealth. That's crucially important to everyone to understand. So politicians that we've got today didn't exist, right? Secondary, I do want to understand, I do want to explain before I speak on anything else, that I want everyone to understand that what I've seen with that Jason Arde is only a small, tiny tip of the iceberg, right? Our solicitors and barristers and judges have deliberately, and the people educating them, particularly from universities, have particularly only supported. So the judges and the legal profession has created a monopoly. And in any monopoly situation, the only person who suffers is the consumer, right? That's fact. That always happens in any form of monopoly. So when we create our CIC and the English Constitution Society set up with very, very strong legal arguments of why we have standing in court. Now I see Jason's out there in the audience at the moment, right? I've seen an extremely good another American case has come up and it's gone to the Supreme Court. And why some people think part of it was bad, I actually don't think that part of it was that bad. Maybe it's because I'm English. But the majority of that case is massively in our favour. Now, when I say about standing, there's a couple of cases that have come up, and one of them is that if you are a member of a society or a group of people, and something, whilst it doesn't directly affect you, but it does affect your membership, you can bring a case on behalf of any one of your members and your membership. We are the only group of people that are representing the English, the subjects of the realm of England, and it means that we will be able to litigate constitutional elements. So when people do things seriously wrong, if they're negligent, if they're disregarding the Constitution completely, we can bring them cases on behalf of the membership. And we can also claim damages of the state if we win. So all of that is we're now working on it in the background, and obviously the booklet that explains to people what your rights are and when they come from. The biggest problem we've had, and we're still going to have that going forward, it is changing in America as we speak, right? And I've said this for years and years and years. America is going to take back America constitutionally. They are going to start putting judges in position that understand the Constitution, and that basically is what's going on out there at the moment. But there's been a particular couple of cases that have gone to federal court in Texas again. Right, some of their judges are absolutely on the ball, right? And when they know they're going to ring the bell, they're going to ring. They do ring the bell, right? They literally say they've literally it said this is enough, right? You're not. We have a constitution, and the rule of law needs to be enforced, right? And our constitution needs to be enforced, and that's exactly what we're doing, even if it causes mayhem for a set period of time. The judges are saying that's not our problem, right? This should never have been allowed to happen, and it's been ideology that's led the judges into some very bad judgments, basically. So getting back to what we're going to be doing, I'm seeing a number of people, and one of the reasons I showed that image tonight, which was telling us the people writing the script for the Home Office and literally just saying fuck off. I'm speaking to a couple of people in the background. I think it's fantastic that people are coming out in their communities against the migration and against the HMOs, and putting these people in there. And the police are assisting the enemy, and the police are putting the community at risk by assisting with that, right? But there is there is a particular way in which that can be done where none of the protesters or anyone giving information to the protesters can be arrested, should be arrested, right? That they can literally say this this is our ancient laws and customs. And if there's any arrest, you've got a strong, not from a solicitor or barrister, but from someone like me, you have got a strong legal argument to challenge what they're doing, and anyone that's involved with that process from start to finish can be sued. That means the individual police constables that have made the arrest, or threats, or use commitments against you, meaning if they want to start using batons or threatening you, etc. Any commitment, any type of law that's used against you when you're carrying out a right that is it's an inalienable right, cannot be taken away, right? And the ancient rights that are involved as well are about the human cry. We've used that previously at a demonstration in Dover, and it was highly successful. The district judge took everything on board and listened to it and said, "I'll find you not guilty." All right, that was at a magistrate level, but it was a district judge that heard the case in Dover. So what I'm trying to say to you is, you need to stop this nonsense with free man of the land, right? You need to be highly respectful of our courts because they are our courts, right? The same as they are our streets, right? And we will put eventually our own judges back in them courts that will find and enforce the Constitution again, right? But to do that, the public need to be educated, and the best way of educating is to get out there, not just online, not just with a booklet, but with seminars. The seminars are going to be crucially important. That's why two of them were blocked. You know, just as we set them out, they cancel them last minute. They don't do that unless they know that what you're telling people is the truth, right? They don't. I've been cancelled on lots and lots of platforms. And the reason is because they don't like us telling people what the Constitution is and what their rights are. And the fact that solicitors and barristers are not aligned with the people, but they're aligned with their own, protecting their own monopoly on the law, that a monopoly that they've got in place now, and especially, and it goes back slightly before then as well, which is the Legal Services Act of 2007, has created a situation where you're only represented by people, a bit like a doctor not being taught nutrition, and he's just giving you pharmaceutical shit that's killing you. Well, solicitors and barristers are exactly the same. I don't trust any of them, and I do mean any of them. I think they're all in it for a pound note. I do believe they're parasites. They've only ever earned a pound note because of their monopoly they created. If you read the books that I've got here, very old books about elections, they was banned from being members of parliament or in parliament or having any position of authority to do with the democratic system for 18 months, at the minimum of 18 months, right? Because they knew how bad it would be if you started to get lots of barristers, etc., involved with barristers and solicitors involved with politics, because they're only going to push forward and try and again enshrine their monopoly in a system. And to do that, they have acquiesced at every level to Parliament, which is wrong, constitutionally and fundamentally wrong. That's what we've got to start getting out there to people. And the only way you're going to take this country back is we take the legal system back. And I do believe that some of those people making them judgments should be tried for treason, for perjuring their oath, and should be, if found guilty, hanged. Right? Whether you like it or not, that someone needs to say to these people, we're never ever going to allow this to happen again. What you've done, this is a systematic destruction of England, and the English people need to stand up and come straight at it for what it is, which is treason. This is an invasion of our country, and we need to stand up. So getting back to the situation of being these people that are going out and highlighting where these HMOs are. For the evidence, and the evidence has come up in the rape and torture gang inquiry with 250,000 victims. No one can deny that that's happening. There is evidence there. I still haven't seen any evidence of Rupert Lowe. I may be wrong because I'm not sort of overly following him, but I haven't seen anything come up in Parliament where he said he was going to name the police individuals and the MPs and the CPS that he believes should be prosecuted. I haven't seen any of that come out yet, and it should do. I'm not sure if I can show. In fact, I don't think I should show it. But our petition, election petition, and the reason I don't want to show this in full is you won't be able to get to it because it hasn't been published. But this is going to be all of these cases, and the depth of what went on is going to be on the site. So this was the election petition case, yeah. Graham Harry Moore's parliamentary election petition challenging the Runcorn and Helsby by-election result, right? So Graham Moore filed his election petition on the 15th of May 2025 as per the instructions of the election petition office. It went through three major court stages: the High Court, July to September 2025, the Court of Appeal, October 2025, and finally the election court trial, November 2025, ending in a judgment on the 18th of November. But I want you to look clearly. That's our leaflet that wasn't delivered, right? What we say is reclaim your English rights. But on the screen as we speak, you should be able to see that. Justice for the victims of rape and torture. Prosecutions, not inquiries. We have evidence, let the jury decide, right? Vote Graham Moore, English Constitution Party, Runcorn and Helsby constituency by-election. Our pledge to you. Justice for the English. We demand the prosecution of all state officials under Section 134 of the Criminal Justice Act 1988 for torture. Those who acquiesced, these are legal terms used in the Act, those who acquiesced, consented, omitted, or acted to cause the rape of white working class English girls, primarily by Pakistani Muslim men, must face trial. Not just a public inquiry. Section 6 mandates a life sentence upon a guilty verdict, with no judicial discretion. Life means life. State officials include MPs, Lords, judges, Crown Prosecution Service staff, ministers, prime ministers, police and council officials, right? So am I clear on what that document, which was an official, as you'll see, an electoral communication, which it clearly stated on the bottom. It then said who he was and it was promoted by, etc. And there it is, right? Now, what this document does is then goes and tells you the sequence of events. Now, I haven't had time to read all through this yet, so some of it might be slightly out. We've got to re-edit it slightly, possibly. But it's important that people understand the sequence of events. So the by-election result, the journey, it tells you everything in there. And then it says the strikeout directions hearing 13th of June 2025, Royal Courts of Justice, Graham 1. Right? Strikeout election petition, July 25th, 2025, Royal Courts of Justice, Graham 1. What I'm trying to tell people here is this was a constitutional argument that we was presenting. And the King's Councils did not know how to argue against us, but the judges was listening to us because we was polite and respectful. Strikeout appeal hearing 16th of October 2025 Royal Courts of Justice. This is really important. This was the strikeout appeal hearing, Royal Courts of Justice, Court of Appeal, where 95 of us turned up, and they opened up another court, which was fantastic with the judges. That's what they're like. When you're nice to them, they're nice to you, right? Royal Courts of Justice, Court of Appeal, Lord Justice Newry, Lady Justice Andrews, Lord Justice Holgate. Appeal by Ponchin and Young against the decision allowing the petition to continue. Graham won. Not only did I win, it was 3-0. All three judges agreed with me. So when you start looking at things going off in the US and Supreme Court judges are 9-0, that is an extremely active and really non-reversible common law judgment, stare decisis in America. And where it relates to rights, and those rights come from England, those judgments can be used in England, right? Because it's come from the Supreme Court, and because it's a 9-0, you can use it in this country, and the judges need to take it under advisement. And then again, you've got there, the appeal is dismissed on 18th of November, election court judgment, election court, etc. But they swapped out the judges, right? So everyone knows what went on there. But a stand for election integrity, accountability, and the right to challenge, So making sure that you all are aware of this. Any electorate in an area can bring a case, right? A single electorate in a general election or a by-election for Parliament. So both must be for Parliament, right? In other words, not a normal council election. A single person can bring a case, right? Now, we may be able to use the CIC to do that in the future. Justice for Victims, Runcorn and Helsby by-election challenge, Graham Moore, English Constitution Party, campaign overview. And then it goes all the way through the details, shows you different bits, shows you the efforts, what we was talking about, the Royal Mail, etc. All of these elements are in there. It's took Claire a long time to get all that stuff right. So again, all of that information is in there. I've got to read through it all to make sure it's all right. So hopefully it is. We might want to change the American police officer for an English constable. But there it is. Cheshire Constabulary harassed the ECP campaign, which they did in the run-up to the 1st of May 2025 by-election. And the thing is, we explained that to the judges because they tried to argue I'd never said anything. And the judge, this is a High Court judge, said, I've read the emails. Mr. Moore did complain to the returning officer, and it's the returning officer's duty to try and sort it out. And he didn't. So there's plenty of information on here. Just to make sure. So we're going, the Royals, 2 High Court judges give the green light to go ahead with the election petition on behalf of the people of Runcorn and Helsby. There's me. Graham Moore, England tour. The Constitution is the solution. So again, that one meme there, if I was to get that and post it out there, strikeout directions hearing 13th of June, Royal Courts of Justice, Graham won. Strikeout election petition 25th July 2025, Royal Courts of Justice, Graham won. Strikeout appeal hearing 16th of October 2025, Royal Courts of Justice, Graham won. Right? There it is. But they won't pay me any of my fees, which is one of the reasons we are now going to set up in such a way we're going to cause them a big problem. There you can see a number of other things. So Graham has the receipts. As Joseph Stalin once said, it's not the people who vote that count, it's the people who count the votes. And again, you've then got some great memes on here. You've got the closing speech. You've got me in my suit there, and you've got Andy the Gabby Cabby standing outside the Crown Court in Chester. everyone will understand it was a fantastic venue. Constitutional conclusion. So I've got to go and read through all that. But just all I'm doing is making sure that you understand it's not as if we don't do anything, but the more people that we get behind us, we will show these people everything that we're doing. And they understand, because we are being ignored, literally, because they think they can get away with it, right? Well, I'm telling you now, America has started to listen, and I've started to see the judgments dropping over there. So we're going to get back to these people that are going out to the HMOs. I want to constitutionally protect them, right? To constitutionally protect them, they've got to step away from this free man and land shit, right? And I will write a petition for them in the way a petition should be written. That each person should read it. They ain't got to sign it. They can hold a copy of it. You can give copies to all of the police constables that are there, and you can literally say to them police constables, "You are acting in yourself. You are individually liable for anything you do to us." Right? We have a constitutional right to be here. We have a right as a human cry to warn the neighbourhood that these people are in there. 250,000 white working class girls have been raped all over England, right? The state and the people who work for the state have acquiesced, have omitted from their reports. They have, in some cases, acted to assist, right? And we need to make sure that these people are put on notice. We're not tolerating it, right? Again, you have freedom of assembly, right? These are all laws that are standard in this country, but you need to stand up. You do not want to get into altercations. If there's video camera people there, you need independent people that don't get involved with the police or with the petitioners, right? And they take video evidence of exactly what's going on, right? You need to be calm, but you need to be out there in force, and because the only reason why people are going to prison is because they don't know what their rights are. If you get arrested, shut up. Do not say anything whatsoever, even if you have to take a 2-week lie down. Right? We will sue them, and we will, if you lose your job, etc. But we'll personally sue them police constables. And if it looks like judges and prosecutors have aligned with the police and not dropped this at the earliest possible point, which they should do, because it is your constitutional right, then they can be sued as well. Right. So just to make sure, every judge in this country should know what the Bill of Rights is, the original Bill of Rights. They should have read it and understood that you have petition rights. I've seen judges in other cases say there was a particular case in Essex where a family was going to put a petition out about them having their kids taken away, and the council tried to get an injunction, and the judge in that court case said, if you continue, you have got a constitutional provision that protects their right to do that. Do you really want to continue on that road? And the council dropped it, right? So just to make sure everyone is aware, some judges do understand the Constitution. Not all judges are bad judges, but we do have, I would say, at least 1,300 to 1,500 bad judges, very bad judges, what I would call DEI judges, judges that should never really, they're not capable of the word or judgment. They shouldn't be there. And that's what we're pushing forward with. So there's a lot of things that we're doing. Let me go back to another couple of things as well. So there has been another situation that is currently happening, as a number of people have sent me this video of a place called Pilkington in Oxfordshire, a little village that's having a referendum. Just to make sure you're aware of this, it now looks like Canada or Alberta is getting a referendum on whether they should be allowed to have a referendum, right? And I listened to that last night on Texit. So it looks like they're pushing forward to be independent. Alberta is going to be independent, and remember what their flag is. There's some concerns I've got with Alberta, but it's about the self-determination side of it, which I'm more interested in. So Pilkington, this little village, is they. I'm not sure if they've already had it or not, but they're basically having a referendum. This is from the parish level, so it's a parish of Pilkington has said we want to leave the UK. All right. Now Pilkington is in Oxfordshire, which is in England. How many other places in this country want to leave the United Kingdom, right, the Union, and become independent? The secondary element of that is it's about the communities protecting themselves then fully, right? I did say originally, and I do mean this, they would have a serious problem with making their own laws as an independent state. And the reason they would was because they don't actually have allodial rights. But it is now being suggested, just like Alberta, because Alberta was in discussion with the United States of America about potentially being the 51st state of America. That's Alberta as a whole, right? I think you could fit England into Alberta 3 times, right? So it's a difference between a parish and a massive area like Alberta. But their crucial point is, and I want everyone to understand this, they've now started talking about we would potentially ask whether we could we could become part of the United States of America, right? Well, the United States of America still does have states that have allodial rights, right? That means you can literally you own the land, you make the rules, right? An allodial title in some areas would be the Indian reservations. They're allodial title to the Indians. That's why they can have casinos there and do all sorts of other things. It's also why some people have took bad Piddington, it's called. It's also why some people in America can think they can get away with it. They drive onto Indian reservations, rape Indian women, and drive off again, right? And no one touches them. There are bad things that can happen as well. So you've got to have a strong community to do it. Point here is that opinion, right? And it is being promoted. People are promoting that. So I'm pleased with that. In fact, I might even try when we get to Volvo, we may even take a drive up there and do a little video and have a chat with a guy, and I'll say to him what I think. But I do think that is definitely the right direction. And the more people talking about that at parish level, bearing in mind what they're trying to destroy the parishes with devolution, otherwise known as regionalisation. They already removed completely Middlesex. We've got to get Middlesex back. And the only real way we can do it is with full independence, without any doubts whatsoever. And then we will rule ourselves. And then we'll decide whether we want a king or not. Right? Convention Parliament is a very powerful thing. And we're certainly looking at not having a king at the moment on seeing what they've just done to us. So there is quite a bit going on in that respect. So getting back to the protest side of things, there's a lot of information coming out of the US at the moment. I am trying to keep up with that, but we're also going to be setting up this other bits and pieces. I've got the seminar, but I personally believe we are massively in the right direction, and certainly that they won't like what we're going to be doing, without any doubts whatsoever. And we can get active in the US to assist us. And we've got just a group of people to help us, which is the Texit group. And there's something else I'm going to have a chat with them about as well. So, what are your thoughts on that, people? Parishes were meant to be part of our self-governance. Yeah, they was. Uh, that's they was completely about self. It's about the community. And remember, um, it was Oliver Cromwell that put so much force behind the parishes because he didn't like the structures of the church itself. He said that was part of popism or papish. Um, Christianity and the worship of God is about the local community, right? And we are now being invaded by Mohammedans and others, and we need to stop it. So there's a lot going on in the background. Hi, Chunk Money, Timbuktu. So John Godley Harding is out there. How you doing, son? So we will be doing some other bits and pieces, and then we're going to go through and explain to people how this operates. We've got to work out there has to be a price structure, but for joining it, it's going to be it will be a similar thing to the I don't know the National Rifle Association, or but it won't. But it'll be about the Constitution. It will be about all your rights. And when you've got a judgment on one section of the Constitution, it will apply to another section of the Constitution. That's what we're going to be actually. We're going to be drilling down, and I have already experienced the incompetence of King's Counsel. And just on the election side of things, that was one of the most experienced King's Counsels in the country in election petitions, and I beat him 3 times. Right, so just remember, um, doing it the right way via the Constitution, you can win. I'm not suggesting you're not going to get stitched up at the end, um, but you have to go through that process. And then what will happen was in the United States of America, they're going to be seeing what they're doing to us constitutionally, and they're going to be saying, no, 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 that's not on. So there's a lot of information I've just put out there in one hit, but hopefully you'll all get it. What's that one? Let's have a look and see what else. Any other questions? Lone Star. I don't want the monarchy owning anything. But in my opinion, we can go back to allodial rights completely. We can take it all off the king and say this is a Commonwealth. And part of the Commonwealth is that we can reverse a lot of the damage that they did with the Enclosures Act. Right? That was a serious, serious assault on England. We want more of our common land back. Let me have a quick look. Anyone out there? Don't forget, we got the Western Supermare. So let me see if I can go and find that. That's this Sunday at 10 a.m. And I'm going to be discussing some other things at that event. Right. But there it is, Western Supermare all-day event. Sunday, August the 23rd, 2026 at 10 a.m. English Constitutional. There it is. So also I'm going to ask the audience, you got the ECS, which is the panther laying across, or your lion or panther laying across the word in there, English Constitution Society. We've also put that out another times, right? And then you've got our main emblem on the right-hand side. The Constitution is the solution, English Constitution Society and the Christian Shield. What is the main image that you would want and require to be on all of our paperwork, so people know exactly what we stand for? The one in the middle or the one either side on left and right on there, right? You tell me what you think is better. So the round one or the elongated one. So Do you want to look through the round window, or do you want to look through the square window? And if anyone's old enough to remember that, which I'm sure there's some out there that are, I will be hotly the hare in a couple of minutes, right? So English constitutional and common law all-day seminar. You want the middle one? Middle one. How many people are asking for the middle one? All right, there's some people who will disagree with you, but I want your opinions because you're going to be the people doing it. All perfect, DD. Right. Sam, Pink Fanfield, middle diddle. Right. So you're all saying you want that one there. Let's see if I can bring that even higher. That one there. Because we can get that in as high a definition as possible. We still have the other one, but explore your inalienable and constitutional rights, what they are, why they matter, and how the state is working to take them away. Learn how identifying as British can cause you to disinherit these rights as an English, Irish, Scottish, or Welsh individual. So remember, we're protecting everyone, right? And especially the Welsh, especially the Irish, right? The Scots are not a common law jurisdiction, but they still have the claim of right. So we haven't got an issue with the Scots either. Discover ways to regain local control instead of central control. So what I described tonight with a parish council and what they're doing, I think is fantastic. Discover ways to regain control instead of central control, local control instead of central control, and find out what you can do to protect your freedoms before it's too late. Right. So, £10 on the door. We ask you to make the donation. You can make more. Bearing in mind we are completely self-funded, right? But there is going to be a new setup of everything. So, and it will be under a CIC, and people will understand. If you was to, I don't know, bequeath us whatever, a large amount of money, and it went into our account, there is absolutely nothing. If I wanted to go out and buy a yacht, right, I could not go and buy one unless that yacht was built for some purpose or was used in some purpose for the English Constitution Society to express that. So, in other words, if it was sitting in, if it was used as a museum and it was sitting in Brixham Harbour, that would possibly be allowed, but not a luxury yacht. Not that we'd ever had that type of money laying around, but you understand what I'm saying. Or you could use the money to buy a property and make it into a museum of England, its constitution, and to teach kids and legal professionals what the real constitution is all about. So again, it starts at 10 a.m. It goes on till 4 p.m. Everyone is welcome. Qustoke, Village Hall, Crooks Lane, Qustoke, Weston-super-Mare, BS 22, Bravo Sierra 22, 9 XJ, as in the car, right? So 9 X-ray Juliet. Or you can click or point your phone at that little thing on the side there. You can pre-book. There's also going to be refreshments put on by Lisa, the wonderful Lisa. And this is a great event. They're great people there. They was very active during COVID, and they know exactly where I'm coming from. They are truly what I would describe as proper patriots that believe in freedom and the people. Right, so there it is there. Hosted by Graham Moore, an English constitutional expert, more than 30 years experience, a registered paralegal, which I am, a registered paralegal, founding member of the English Constitution Society, and somewhere on there somewhere, I had my certificate, which is just to say that I am a paralegal, a registered paralegal. There's all the banners. They've already been put nice and flat, hopefully. in the back of the van. So we'll see what they turn out like. Self-determination is the number one human right. And then you've got England, Scotland, Northern Ireland as an independent nation, but it would be a protectorate of England. You've got Wales, Cornwall, and then you've got Ireland. Ireland is not. So Ireland and Scotland are Roman law jurisdictions. Ireland technically has got nothing to do with England anymore whatsoever. They are now a Roman law jurisdiction in effect. The Fabian Society wrote their constitution, rewrote it in 1936, and wrote out most of their protections. That's nothing to do with England. Tickets are £10 on the door or £10.84 via the ticket app. For all those wishing to make sure they have a seat, this is a donation-based event to help cover Graham's costs. Don't forget, on this particular event, the cost of it's one of them things that it's only 2.5 hours away from me, but I've had to hire a van because the car blew up and all sorts of things have happened. But I absolutely we've got this. This is such a wonderful event and wonderful people. Like we literally pulled all the stops out. So far that's cost me a lump of money in just hiring the vehicle, and then obviously I've gone out and bought a vehicle, and that will be majorly assisting us in doing other events. Just to let everyone know, this is a donation-based event to help cover Graham's costs. If you can contribute, brilliant. It really helps. If you can't, don't worry. You're still absolutely welcome. That is exactly it is. But if we get anyone turning up there, paid or unpaid, and start talking about free man and land stuff, and want me to sit there debating them on it, I don't do that. Anyone, I tell you, I will, and I will literally just say, listen, these people ain't come here to listen to that. We either solve the problem or we don't, and we're not going to solve it with a load of nonsense. So there you go. There it is. There, that is the place. It's on your screen. Hopefully, many people will try and get there. Let me stop sharing that. Right. Any other questions on anything I've said? I will be living in my car after Xmas, so at least I will have a roof. Roof. Crap. How many people in my local area got worse? There's so many things that are going wrong out there at the moment. Oh, trust me, homelessness is a massive, massive issue in this country, and it is the foreigners taking all our housing. Without any doubts whatsoever. And we need to get these politicians out. Tracy Tourism, thank you. I feel stupid sometimes. I mean, who's this one? I'm still learning. What was that about? Why do you feel stupid? There's no such thing as a stupid question, by the way. Only intelligent people ask questions. Here's the Hamlin Lectures, load to read and learn. Yeah, Hamlin Lectures is a fantastic resource. Keith 560, Simon Lacey, evening. Never feel stupid. We all have to learn. None were taught it. I only know because I stumbled across DD when the Dragons were going. That's it. And then once you start teaching people, they start to realize, but more and more people now started to realise there is something seriously wrong. I was talking to someone. It took me, God knows, 4 hours to try and sort some stuff out for accounts for Val. And everything I tried to do weren't working, didn't want to work, whatever. Eventually, I did some of the bits that like I say, Val's a volunteer, right? So she's doing all these stuff in the background. I'm trying to do it, and it literally took, even with a little bit of stuff, right? It took over 4 hours of me just sitting there. That's not doing anything else. That's just trying to sort that out. But this is the kicker. We went in a pub and we was talking to some lady and her husband, and she said like she said that they're asking. He's a mechanic, right? Like a motor mechanic, and she said they're asking him for. He bought some tools, right? Only little tools, 6 or 7 years ago, and they're still fining him because he never produced the receipts, even though she said he did. He's got the receipts and he produced the receipts, right? And they keep increasing these fines and all that. These people who are running this country are parasites on the working class, and someone has to stop them. But this lady said, you know, it's the thing is, it's so bad. It takes so much time up to be answering all these questions and going through their processes. If they just left us alone, we'd be able to earn more money. But they don't see it that way, right? And I agree with us. Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. Their nonsense is a distraction. But it's one of those things. Just here, 50 shots out here. And God is throwing lighting all over my place. And now you don't see me. Got ugly. Is it gone bad? It's a kept angel. There's a lot of shots going off. You'll have to tell me where you are, and I'll look on the news and see if there's anything on there. Once one awake to the Constitution and common law, the world is seen totally differently. No, exactly that. That's why they don't like what we're doing. Because we're waking people up to say, listen, you've got a constitution. These people are not allowed to do what they're doing. So is Janet taking a washing machine so she don't get withdrawal symptoms? Yeah, you could say that.
I caned it this morning.
She is. Some parasitic sewer rats. They're all are, yeah, they are. Right, anyway, I've done just about an hour, I think. Is there anything else that people wanted to have a brief chat about? Was there anything I had to mention?
No, I think we've covered everything.
I think we've covered everything. So don't forget, you got ivermectin, menbenzodol, which does a slightly different thing, and fembenzodol. So you got the three. That is the number one anti-cancer protocol there. Again, nothing to do with me, but there's my DMSO gel. That's it. I'm going to say good night. God bless. Unless anyone else wants to say anything. And again, I am very grateful for those who have made the donations and assisted me with not only the purchase of the car, but also helping to insure it. All I've got to do now is try and tax the thing, which I think it'll be Wednesday, won't it? And then we'll be rocking and rolling. I paid a little bit extra for the car to have a gearbox service, not just an oil service for the car, but the gearbox, because the mechanic said to me, who was looking after the other car, you need to make sure that gearbox is change the oil on it regular, right, and the filter on a gearbox, because it's a lot of power going through the engine, from the engine through that gearbox to the four-wheel drive system. So just make sure you always look after the gearbox, which is exactly what I will be doing. So paid a little bit extra for that, and hopefully I'll be picking it up, and then we'll take it to a track day, eh? Janet began, slow down, don't go that fast. Tiddly poo. I can't see the gauge properly though. You know when the gauge goes up like that, right? And it's actually saying 120, and you're supposed to only be doing 60. You think, oh, is that what does that say 120 mile an hour? Not really. I'm only joking. DD, how can I donate towards your car? Let me bring that information up. Tracy's got it on there. Put gift. Any of this stuff, make sure you put gift, or don't put anything on it at all. But let me see if I can find this. Is that the one, or is that the one? Where's my DD account? Or is Tracy going to find it and put it up there? The easiest way is to go direct to the Daddy Dragon website, which has been going on for years and years and years and years. There it is. Let me see if I can find it. I'll put that on the screen for you. But that is helpful, and people have really helped me. And don't forget, long term, like I'm not doing this for me. I mean, eventually, if there's enough money coming in, we'll be making sure. Let me see if I've got that. Bank GH Moore, it's Barclays, by the way. Account number, sort code, that's it. I don't know why it's got that on there. It's got search for. Let me put on there Barclays. Well, let's see if I can pin that onto the top. Let's pin that one, see if it works. Let's see if I can stop sharing. So I'll put that on there and you'll see it. It's on the right hand side of the website anyway. And we're going to be using that a bit more as well. Some other things I'll be doing with that. I might even look at some other things. So that is where it is. So for that person who asked, and like I say, I'm really grateful that it's on there. So it is GH Moore account. And if you put something in there, just for the reference, just say gift. There is a particular reason for doing that. There you go. That is on there. So don't forget what I believe in. The Constitution is the solution. Anyone who is going to Weston-super-Mare on Sunday, I will see you there. I'm going to be about in Weston-super-Mare on the Saturday. We're hoping my suit still fit me. And then I'll be coming back on the Monday. That's it. Merci beaucoup.